Good afternoon, everybody. This is Eddie Taylor with the Northern Santa Barbara County United Way. We're here at United Voices Community Conversations, and we're going to welcome back Rachel King. Now, you might remember Rachel is the Senior Regional Director of the Dollywood Foundation, the Imagination Library. She shared a lot of interesting information with us about Dolly and herself in our first session. Today, we're going to talk a little more about not the local program, but the state level program, because what's happened in the state of California has literally changed our approach to the Imagination Library. It was great before, and let's see. You like to go from good to great. What do you do when it's already great? You go great to greater, right? So now we have this program that is greater than it was before, and Rachel's going to fill us in a little bit about it, but let's remind the folks who you are and how you got here, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back, Eddie. I am the Senior Regional Director at the Dollywood Foundation. That's Dolly Parton's nonprofit, and we are home of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which is a book gifting program for children 0 to their 5th birthday, where they receive a free book every month directly to their home with the child's name on it. And it's always a gift to the family. And
what's that first book they get?
The first book they get, oh gosh, it's amazing. It is The Little Engine That Could.
Yep.
And this is one of Dolly's favorite books because the messages in that book are all about trying and persevering and overcoming things to feel successful. So it's a beautiful start to the program that every child will start with that book. And the last book is Look Out Kindergarten, Here I Come by Nancy Carlson.
Yeah.
So that's how we end the program, because our children graduate on their 5th birthday and they receive a lovely email from Dolly as well saying happy birthday and a video talking about their next steps. But our program is, as I say, a gift to the family for all to enjoy.
And we've been doing it, as we said before, for over 15 years now with the foundation, and we've witnessed the impact that providing books has had. Let's talk a little bit, if you don't mind, Rachel, about the California program, because things happened about 18 months ago that, what I said before, took it from great to greater. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we've had programs in California for over 20 years, but in September 2022, Senate Bill 1183 was passed. And I'm sure everybody doesn't know the in and out of every single bill, but this was bipartisan legislation that was to roll out the Imagination Library to every county across California, with the goal of reaching around about 2 million children with the program.
And how many children do we have in California?
We have about 2.4 million.
Okay.
Yeah, so eventually, I mean, that takes a long time. It takes many, many years to get to that. But we set our goals big because we know that we can really achieve great things with our community partners all together. So, and what that bill does is a couple of things. It helps to provide match funding for our local community partners to be able to bring the Imagination Library to a community that's not been there before, or a county that's not been before, and those who have existing programs to grow their programs. And alongside that, we introduced a brand new book collection, which is fully English, Spanish, bilingual books that the families can select when they register. So they can choose either collection. And this was really important for our California families, and it's launched here. We're now in 6 states providing this, and hopefully over time, even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a game changer.
Yes.
When I say great to greater, it wasn't just about the funding, right? The funding is huge. We doubled our program overnight. But I think the more important part was the bilingual aspect of the library itself. Because in the past, we've had very limited bilingual opportunities for the families. And we have a large Spanish-speaking population here in our community, getting larger. And although it was, impactful, having something in their own language changes the dynamic of reading with the family, right? It changes the dynamic of the child's ability to learn 2 languages at the same time. It changes what happens in school. My wife is a school teacher. She recognized the need for the bilingual aspect of teaching, the bilingual aspect of what do we call a dual immersion. So there's not enough of that goes on. So the Imagination Library has now helped us with the dual immersion opportunity. Now, you said that the parents can choose. So what is that choice that they make?
So when they register for the Imagination Library, there's an option, and they can choose. There's options they can choose, and one is what language they receive their communication in, and that's English or Spanish, or which collection they choose. And when they select that collection from that that day forward, that's what they receive every single month directly to their home.
Can they change it if they want to?
They can. They can either have their community partner help them change it, or they can actually log in themselves and go and change that selection if they want to over time. So those who are in this community and this might be the first time they're hearing about this, they can go and do that right away. Or again, call your community partner and they'd be so happy to help with that change.
When you guys, when this first started, was there an organized outreach to the families that we already have enrolled to let them know that they could go back in and make a choice to change languages?
Yes, we've done it a couple of times now. So
and what are we seeing there? Do you have data on that?
I don't have direct data on the uptake. So the reason we do it a few times is we all get many emails, right? So we did it a couple of times to make sure. But also what we did do was then provide the necessary materials in our communities to be used in our communities to really promote that program, for families to either make the shift or to sign up for the Imagination Library for the first time, because this might have been something that they are very interested in now. They've got these two different collections, but particularly the English-Spanish bilingual books. And I'd just love to say one brilliant thing about the books is the books are printed for the Imagination Library. And inside, they also have reading tips for the families, and that's in English and Spanish as well. And we want to be able to do that because we know that, again, reading's reading, but it's not easy for everybody as well, like how you kind of spend that time and how you dive into the book. So this is just some helpful tips for how you can engage with your children to be able to learn about new concepts and been able to bring that book to life.
You're making me wish that I had grandchildren long enough to put back in the library, but all of my children and all of my grandchildren are now grown. All of our grandchildren, by the way, did go through the Imagination Library.
Fantastic.
And they're all outstanding readers today.
Any favorite book there, Eddie, that
I don't know that they had a favorite. They didn't share it with me. They actually live in Tennessee.
Oh, wow. So they are in the home seat of the program.
Yes,
that's wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. And so our oldest is, I think Zach's 22, right? So he was in from birth. He got started. Anyway, we've seen the impact of families. We're now beginning to see the impact at the state level. But let's talk a little bit about the stability of the program at the state level. This is state funding.
Yes.
It comes, it goes, it's up, it's down. But this program, it sounds to me like the leadership is dedicated to supporting this program. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, yes, absolutely, Eddie. So the legislation was supported at so many levels by our legislators, and it's 5-year legislation. But we will continue to work to try and continue this program beyond. We've been in Tennessee for 20 years in a statewide program. We're in 20 other states as well as California. And our goal is for this to continue forever. Once we start getting books into the homes of children. In terms of the state funding, we will be working with our legislators, and we have people in our team whose job it is to kind of help to facilitate those pieces so that we can continue to get the support that we need.
Is there anything that we can do as the public or as your partners to help you with the advocacy around keeping the legislation alive? Let's not wait until year 4.
Yes, I think you're right, and I think obviously that's right. There is a time piece on that, and it is to demonstrate the need in the community by enrolling even more children, so that they can have the experience of the Imagination Library, so that we can continue to grow and show that growth and really show the impact of what this has on the impact it has on the family. And that could be data, but it's also the qualitative.
That qualitative.
Qualitative piece as well. When we hear from our families that what this has done and how this has had an impact. This is just one reading program. We have so many other resources within our communities to support alongside that, and organizations like our United Ways definitely bring those resources together. So this is one that we're going to want to continue to bring to our families. So it's about us demonstrating this program and growing this program and really getting it into the hearts of our communities so that it can be part of what we do every single day. And then we can go and support our future legislation and really have the necessary impact to show the change that it can make, so Californians can continue to receive these books.
Well, I'll step up right now, Rachel, and tell you that our team is right alongside of you, whatever advocacy is needed at the state level and at the local level. Of course, we've had our state legislators here in this podcast center to talk to us, and we want them to carry this message back to Sacramento with them. And let's make sure that we've got this conversation elevated to a point early on so that as they change, I mean, let's face it, I mean, in California, we term out, right? Our elected officials aren't there for life.
Yeah.
So the ones that are there now won't be there 4 years from now, right? Same with the governor. He'll be gone. He's done 2 terms now. And so we won't have the same governor. It's work for us to do together.
Yes.
And I look forward to the opportunity to help you with that in any way that we can. And I would venture a guess that anybody that's listening to this would say, yeah, send me the petition. I'll sign it. We know that literacy is paramount to reaching our dreams and our goals. When we got involved in literacy here at the United Way, and we'll go into this a little more in another session, but we recognized that literacy was more than just the ability to read. This is about the ability to read, to write coherently, to think critically, and I like to add, to think creatively. This is the 21st century. Talk about creativity. We're in our business, in our education, and in our private lives, everything has changed with technology, and it changes quickly. And we need to be literate in so many different ways. It begins with reading. So we want to thank you. We want to thank the Imagination Library. Thank you, Dolly Parton. And you know what? The last session you pointed out to me that it was her father that was the impetus for her to start this. So thanks, Pops. Is her Pops still around? Probably not. But
He's not.
Thank you, Pops. And Dolly, thank you so much. Rachel, thank you for being with us. We're going to call this session. This has been United Voices Community Conversations with Rachel King from the Imagination Library, Dolly Parton Foundation. Rachel, you want to take us out with a closing thought?
I would love to take us out with a closing thought. Dolly says you can never get enough books into the hands of enough children, and we want to thank you in your county for doing that work here and making that dream a reality for our youngest learners. So thank you so much for having me today, Eddie. Thank you, Jacob. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Jacob. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. You can find our podcast on Spotify, YouTube, and probably your favorite podcast platforms. If not there now, they'll be there soon. Thanks again, Rachel. We'll see you on the next session when I think we're going to go a little bit deeper about our local programs. I think perhaps we'll turn the table, and you'll interview me.
I'd very much enjoy that, Eddie.
All right, let's do it. Next time. We'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.